Hello everyone, tonight on the program, local cement manufacturer Jata Cement projects to produce 3 million tons annually following significant investment in ultra-modern technology. Former Finance Minister said Tekpe reacts to government's 5-point plan to fix the country. He says they are not far-reaching enough. And making Accra work again, Advertising Association of Ghana collaborates with key stakeholders to remove all billboards at unauthorized locations in Accra.
To move in 2 weeks' time to get those boards down.
Back to Business Live. Now, first story, the Advertising Association of Ghana is collaborating with key stakeholders to remove all billboards at unauthorized locations in Accra to ensure sanity and ensure safety of consumers. Now, according to the Executive Director, Francis Dazi, this is part of a campaign to make Accra work again. There's more in this report.
This presentation, Executive Director Francis Dazi says the association is committed to pulling down all billboards at unauthorized locations in Accra. According to him, the association has given a 2-week ultimatum to owners of the unlicensed billboards to remove their products or face the law.
Cranes and everything are ready to move in 2 weeks' time to get those boards down. So we need to move a step further. And what we did was to go around the city to look at the challenges that the indiscriminate mounting of these billboards and signages are posing to our cities expected. So we went round. Most of you here over the years have been badgering me over these billboards and all that. So we're here to tell you that now we have a partnership with the Regional Coordinating Council, Regional Security, to ensure that it works this time.
Speaking to Joy Business on the sidelines of the program, President of the association, Togbo Mensah, says his outfit is working to secure a legal instrument to regulate and sanitize the advertising industry.
In every country where there's any marketing authority, it has a national support. So that that's what we are working on now. That national support, so that there's a certain advertising council. A council means there's an independent body that will supervise even us. So all the laws and regulations are adhered to.
Make Accra work again. Turning to our top story tonight, the first private sector wholly Ghanaian-owned cement factory, Jata Cement, is projecting to produce about 3 million tons of cement annually for the Ghanaian and African market when fully operational. This follows a significant investment in an ultra-modern technology to begin production next month. Managing Director Nana Philip Archer made the disclosure when he addressed the media after taking the Minister for Trade and Industry on a tour of the facility at Tema here in Accra. There's more in this report.
With over $100 million invested in the company, Jata Cement is set to begin production for the Ghana market with the vision of stabilizing the demand and supply of cement in the country. The Minister of Trade and Industry, Alan Chemantin, after a tour of the project site, said this would open doors of opportunity for many young Ghanaians to be gainfully employed. According to the Managing Director, Nana Philip Archer, the first phase of the project, which is almost complete, will be producing at a capacity of 1.2 million tons for a start.
I believe it will linger on or to go on for generations even yet unborn. There are so many plans, and for this particular phase, 1.2 million tons capacity. very soon we'll double this capacity, and that is only for the bag segment. If we add selling directly to project side, the capacity in the next few years will be 3 million tons. And by far, our vision is to make sure that we become #1 in this country in the next few years. And then we are going to work seriously towards that, and then also solicit the support of government. And for us, we are very, very delighted to even have the minister visiting us, even though we have not started the operation fully.
The Minister for Trade and Industry, Alan Chimantin, charged the company to consider the use of local materials in the production process when the entire plant is operating fully. He's optimistic that this development will bring a significant change to the cement supply chain.
The initial phase, which is a bagging plant, is only meant to open the way for something greater to come. And I understand from the management team that the second, third phases would also actually result in the installation of a grinding plant. So in this regard, Sir Ibrahim and your colleagues, I would like to encourage you, once you get to that level, to be able to explore opportunities for using local raw materials, not to completely substitute for clinker, but then it will complement whatever you are importing into the country.
Production of cement has already begun under the first phase of the project.
And it's very remarkable that we are producing cement locally, because just recently we have been complaining about the cost of building materials. So let's go on to the high cost of cement. The Chamber of Cement Manufacturers Ghana has indicated that the high cost of cement is as a result of high cost of production, unfair trade practices, low utilization rate of cement products, and unfair competition. The firm believes that the pressure caused by the COVID-19 pandemic is also a major concern. Here's more.
The cement industry is one of the largest contributors to the country's GDP. The industry, however, continues to grapple with high cost of production, unfair trade practices, unfair competition, among others. According to the Chief Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Cement Manufacturers, Dr. George Dawson Amwa, the reason behind the increase is as a result of the importation of about 80% of raw materials used to produce cement, with 26% increase in freight rates and unavailability of vessels.
Cement raw materials, about 80% is imported. We have 3 components that actually come together to grind before you can get a finished cement that you see actually on the market.
Okay.
One is called clinker, the other is called limestone, and the third is called gypsum. There are 3. And clinker is the most actually, imported. That's about 80%, which is imported for it to be, produced in Ghana into the cement. So that is basically what is really happening as. And cost of freight has gone up. Because of the COVID, it is like so many important activities have been stalled. Lack of vessels, while importing raw materials also has which type of what you call a vessel that you have to use. It's called a bulk, vessels. Those have a bulk cargoes. Now these bulk cargoes are even competing with actually, importers of container, vessels. Yeah. So it really has made availability of vessels, then high cost of freight. And like telling you earlier on, if you have raw material that you have to import about 80%, and there is increase in freight, it will automatically affect the production. And that basically that is what is happening. And if you look at the trend, it started from middle of 2020, which of course the freight cost of freight and cost of imported raw material were going up. It's even the first quarter of 2021. And we have an average of about 26% increase of freight cost, the first quarter of the year. So we're still monitoring, and that has actually accounted for the price increases in the first quarter and the second quarter of the year 2021. Basically, it is the cost of imported raw materials, the major component being the freight.
Though limestone reserves exist in Ghana, volumes are limited. Hence, the cement industry continues to rely on clinker imports.
Well, so government is being urged to incentivize the industrial sector to avert its dwindling fortunes. Now, while both the agric and services sectors were able to post growth in 2020, the industrial base of the economy couldn't withstand the economic pressure, hence experiencing its poorest performance in 6 years. In an interview with Joy Business, economist Professor Peter Korte suggested some solutions to revive the real sector contribution to GDP.
Figures published by the Ghana Statistical Service show that the second largest contributor to the economy, industry, recorded a 3.6% contraction in the pandemic year, a sharp nosedive from the 6.4% growth recorded the previous year and the worst performance ever since the GDP figures were rebased in 2014. But speaking on the marketplace, economist Professor Peter Korte says unstable exchange rates coupled with other factors have contributed to the industrial sector's poor performance.
Government should speed up some of the things it has outlined in the budget so that people's pains or suffering will be minimized. But one area will be lower cost of doing business. Interest rates, if interest rates do come down, certainly investors would be able to borrow at reasonable cost and be able to invest and stimulate jobs. Same with exchange rates. So far, we've experienced stable exchange rates, but if exchange rate starts depreciating rapidly, then we would have challenges with industry because businesses plan to import raw material and many other things. So we need a stable exchange rate. As I mentioned, to stimulate jobs, it's not just industry. There should be growth in the other sectors. Once they grow and pull out the industry along, we are likely to see more jobs.
Professor Peter Korte has, however, called on government to incentivize the industrial sector in order to improve its market offering.
In some derivation, you find incentives, other incentives given to those who employ most. So there are targeted approach in terms of finding people or industry players who employ the most. Sure. And then some tax incentives are directed at them, some specific tax incentives. Perhaps that would be one way of dealing with the job problem. And GRA may look at some of these options available in other countries where there's a tax relief if you employ so many people in a given period. I think this are my views on job creation.
Professor Peter Korte also called on Ghanaians to be circumspect in their demands from government in the midst of COVID-19.
Some good news, deliberations on a new national daily minimum wage report could commence in the coming days. This is because the technical group of the National Tripartite Committee is expected to present its report after weeks of engagements. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta disclosed this when he engaged the media Sunday.
Well, it's very difficult to talk about a tripartite negotiations when we're in the middle of negotiations. But as we mentioned, we've gone through a good period of a good relationship with them. So the technical committees are now, meeting, and they'll be presenting their report this week, and so we will know how to move forward. I mean, we, for the first time in our history, have a social partnership with labor and employers that has never happened before, that we meet quarterly, make sure that we understand their needs, put them in the budget, and then also understanding that the faith-based organizations are in more places than even the government can be.
Meantime, the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has laid out a 5-point plan to address the concerns of Fix the Country campaigners. The group, as you know, asking government to fix the system. The plan includes the implementation of $200 million jobs and skills program and the immediate provision of potable water to areas in critical need, especially in urban areas. While former Finance Minister Seth Terkper has been reacting to the 5-point plan. He says they are not far-reaching enough.
They are not the only problems facing the economy, so we need more too. Where is the program to achieve it? Where is the program, to address the issues I'm talking about? Where is the program to enable GRA, raise the revenue, from a low 13% to 17% and then to 20% in 4 years? Where is the program that will show that we are not going to be borrowing to pay part of interest and compensation? And then the entire recurrent budget, balance of the recurrent budget, that is goods and services, the entire capital budget, and the entire amortization, which is repayment of loans, is all coming from loans.
Great.
So, yeah, the minister is not the only one who has come to this situation.
All right.
I don't want to pretend that, other ministers have not.
All right.
But what we have done in the past, if you take single spine and the rest and all those, yes, we did attempt a homegrown policy. He said we had done 17, IMF programs. Fine. What is the gist of those programs? And how can we turn it into a homegrown policy?
That was former Finance Minister Seth Tekpe. You're watching Business Live. We are taking a short break. When we come back, we'll be touring the other regions for some business news. Don't go anywhere.
On today's edition of Money Lab, we continue our discussion on collective investment schemes. For today, we are going to be looking at fixed income funds. These are funds that invest in both short-term and long-term fixed income securities. So in addition to investing in treasury bills and notes, they also invest in either government bonds or corporate bonds in addition. This type of funds appeal to investors who are interested in investing in the medium to long term and are risk averse.
News from across the globe. Let's tour the regions now for the latest. Begin with Bono East, where Regional Minister Kwesi Jan has charged the various municipal and district assemblies of the region to adopt the use of ICT in local revenue mobilization as a means of improving internally generated funds. He made this call when he had a stakeholder engagement with some municipal chief executives and service providers at the Regional Coordinating Council. Anas Sabit has more.
Ghana's comprehensive decentralization program aimed at bringing governance closer to the citizenry was implemented in the late 80s. The program has since made modest gains, especially in promoting local participation in political governance. However, one of the biggest challenges facing the district assemblies is the effective mobilization of revenues internally to support local development. To help improve the situation, the Bono East Regional Minister, Mr. Kwesi Edujan, is charging the 11 municipal and district assemblies of the region to ride on the robust ICT tools being implemented by government to enhance its internally generated funds.
Having been in the office for about 2 months, I've realized that the IGF generation in the districts aren't that so good. And this has culminated into lack of projects by the district assemblies. This does not augur well for decentralization. With the robust infrastructure which has been laid, this creates an enablement for us to use information communication technology to enhance our revenue collection. Okay, so the infrastructure has been laid. It's like a road network has been built. We just have to get the vehicle to put on that road. And the vehicle is what organizations like GIZ and others are providing in the form of software to enable this to be realized.
Mr. Edujan made this call when he had a stakeholder engagement with the regional representatives of the GIZ and some municipal chief executives and their coordinating directors. He says the effective use of revenues taken from the people would boost confidence amongst taxpayers, which would, in the long run, increase the revenues of the assemblies.
Many people oppose taxation because they feel that the leakages are too much and that they don't benefit from the taxes that they are paying. I believe that if citizens understand the use that their taxes are being put into it, they will go along with it.
Mr. Edujan, who was the immediate past Director General of the Kofi Annan Center of Excellence, is optimistic that the use of ICT in revenue mobilization would help seal the loopholes in the system.
With technology, it becomes transparent. Okay, with what the demonstration that we just saw. Okay, as they go out on the fare collecting, the municipal chief executive or the finance officer could, on real time, be looking at the activities of the workers on the field. You understand me? At the end of the day, he has a clear idea of how much has been collected.
Regional advisor for the GIZ, Mr. Emmanuel Nsowa Kabia, who is providing technical support to the MMDAs, says the major challenge facing the implementation of digitization at the local level is the acceptance of these tools by the people.
The most challenging issue that we face with this is the resistance to change and the management getting us to understand that we need to go this way, the technical people getting to understand that we need to go this way and be able to support the process. That is the most challenging aspect of it.
Reporting for JoyNews, Anas Sabit, Techiman.
And that's our program tonight. There's more news as always on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. You can read more about the finance minister's interaction with the media, where he disclosed that debt increase of 137% between 2016 and 2020 was lower than previous administrations. You can read more on that. Plus, AU heads of state direct after negotiations to be concluded by June. So that's on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Darryl Kwa. Thanks for watching. We're back same time tomorrow.